All right, so what is going on, guys? This is going into week 9. This is my top 25. Sorry, I'm a day late, a little under the weather yesterday. So let's just dive on in after the week 8 games. At 25, I've got Texas, who took a tough loss this past weekend. Number 24 is going to be Tulane. 23 is NC State. 22 is UNC. 21, LSU with the big win over Ole Miss by 25 points. Looked really good early in the season. They didn't, but they're really coming alive on the back half right here. 20, Kansas State. At 19, going to be Cincinnati. 18 is Kentucky. 17, Illinois. 16, Syracuse. They played a valiant game. There was a couple of questionable calls in that game against Clemson, but going into Clemson's very tough. They've won 38 straight home games, so dropping Syracuse there. 15 is going to be Wake Forest. 14, Ole Miss, again, lost in Death Valley this past weekend. 13, UCLA. We had a top 10 matchup there, and they ended up on the losing side of that game. 12 is going to be Penn State, who has a big game with Ohio State this coming weekend. 11 is USC. They got back on track. 10 is Utah. And that was kind of everybody's looking, but I still hold head-to-head, and Utah has the win over USC, so that put them right there in the top 10. 9, I've got Oregon since the embarrassing loss the first week in Atlanta to Georgia. Oregon has been hell on wheels. Looking great. Got to give it to first-year coach Dan Lanning. Bo Nix moving out there from across the country at Auburn has looked really good since that Georgia game to start the season. At 8, I've got the Oklahoma State Cowboys. Mike Gundy's team got back in the win column this weekend. Enjoyed seeing that game. 7 is Clemson. As close as they played Syracuse with at-home advantage, all these things, that's where I've just got Clemson dropping down. I looked at the next 6 teams, and I think the next 6 teams would beat Clemson. 6 is TCU. They were down early and fought back. That team is gritty. That team did an amazing job in the second half of their game to come back and clinch the victory this weekend. 5 is Alabama. Usually after a Nick Saban loss, Alabama comes out and dominates. You would have liked to have seen a little bit more points put on the board with Mississippi State, but they held them to 6 points, I'm sorry. It was the first touchdown in Tuscaloosa for Mississippi State in like 8 years or something. It was pretty impressive. So that Bama defense got back on track and held down the air raid offense of Mike Leach. 4 is Michigan, who was idle this week. 3, Tennessee, who laid wood against Tennessee Martin, FCS school, but still putting that many points on anybody is difficult. 2, I've got Georgia, who again was idle this week with the cocktail party coming up this coming weekend, and then the big showdown in Athens. Should both teams go into that undefeated, I fully anticipate that being a matchup of top 3 teams in Athens. And number 1, I've got Ohio State, who came under a little bit of fire in the blowout win they had. Talk about padding some stats for C.J. Stroud and those kind of things. But, you want to get as many reps for your starters, especially with Michigan coming at the end of the year. And then going into what I'm assuming they're going to say is a definite bowl game and probably a top 4 finish if they can close out the year with the Big Ten Championship. So there's your top 25, guys. We'll see you next week. If you like this kind of stuff, or if you would like me to rank the NFL games on Mondays, let me know about that. So if you like my insight on any of the other football, please smash that like and subscribe button for me. It really does help me out. And we'll see you guys next week. Thanks.